WLRN edition 112 in 3, 2, 1.
I was born woman, off my knees I will stand for my liberation. Sisters, rise again. I was born woman, off my knees I will stand for my liberation. Rise and rise again.
Greetings and welcome to the 112th edition podcast of Women's Liberation Radio News for this Thursday, August 7th, 2025. This is Thistle, feminist singer-songwriter and fierce supporter of the dignity, worth, and rights of women and girls. This month's edition focuses on the Red Tent at the National Women's Music Festival, where it's been set up every year for 10 years. We'll hear an excerpt of an interview I did with Rain, Harvest, Holin, and Firehawk, 4 Dianic Priestesses who come together every year to co-create the Red Tent at the festival. We'll also hear in-house commentary from WLRN member Freda, who talks about the value of learning about and honoring our blood cycles. The team at WLRN produces a monthly radio broadcast to break the sound barrier women are blocked by under the status quo rule of men. This blocking of women's discourse we see in all sectors of society, be they conservative, liberal, mainstream, progressive, or radical. The thread that runs through all of American politics, except for separatist feminism, is male dominance and entitlement in all spheres. To start off today's edition, here's Kat Bradfield with women's news from around the globe for this Thursday, August 7th.
Thanks, Thistle. On July 8, the International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants for 2 high-ranking Taliban leaders in relation to the ongoing persecution of women and girls in Afghanistan. The court said there were reasonable grounds to believe that the treatment of women and girls under Taliban rules since 2021 constituted a crime against humanity. The Taliban responded to the announcement with a statement saying it doesn't recognise the ICC and that the warrant was a clear act of hostility and an insult to Muslims around the world. The extensive restrictions imposed by the Taliban, which among other things prevent women from attending school, speaking in public, or showing their faces, have previously been referred to the UN as gender apartheid. French abuse survivor and modern feminist icon Gisèle Pelicot has been named a Knight of the Legion of Honor for the courage shown in publicly testifying in the trial of her serial rapist husband. This recognition is France's highest civic honor and was awarded to Pelicot ahead of France's National Day on July 14. After a persistent campaign, Australian feminist non-profit Collective Shout has had success in pushing gaming platforms Steam and Itch to remove hundreds of games promoting rape, incest, and child abuse. This victory was ultimately achieved through an open letter to payment providers including Visa and MasterCard, advising they cut ties with Steam if this content, much of which likely constituted child sexual abuse material, was not removed. The decision drew significant backlash from the male-dominated gaming community, with sites such as Vice and PC Gamer condemning the move as an overreach of censorship, and many male gamers responding to the news of the content's removal by sending threats of rape and violence to Collective Shout staff on social media. Elon Musk has also taken to social media to voice his disapproval of the game's removal. 2 members of staff at a Brazilian university are facing up to 5 years in prison for referring to a trans-identified male student as male. In 2022, a female janitor encountered the student in a woman's bathroom and advised him he was in the wrong room. The student took offence to this, and a male university administrator was then involved. The administrator asked the student to produce documentation to confirm his legal sex, to which the student took further offence. Both the janitor and the administrator were last year charged with aggravated prejudice under the classification of social racism. The janitor did not have her contact removed following the incident and has been unemployed since early 2023, and the administrator has been the target of ongoing harassment from trans activist student groups. The offence with which both have been charged carries a sentence of 2 to 5 years, and a decision is expected in the next few weeks. On August 4th, Australian woman Sal Grover returned to the courts to continue fighting for the right to female-only spaces. Grover is the creator of the female social network app Giggle for Girls and has been sued by trans-identified male Roxy Tickle for removing him from the app after realising he was biologically male. The initial ruling in 2024 found in favour of Mr. Tickle, with the judge declaring that sex is changeable. Ms. Grover filed for appeal, and this week the appeal is being heard by the federal court. A decision is expected to be reached by August 7th. On July 21st, the US Olympic and Paralympic Committee updated its eligibility rules for the female category to exclude trans-identified males, in compliance with an executive order issued by President Trump. The rule change was announced quietly, with an update of the committee's website and a letter sent to national sport governing bodies. The update can be found under the committee's athlete safety policy and references the executive order issued in February titled Keeping Men Out of Women's Sports. Between June 28 and July 7, a total of 7 trans-identified males competed in women's divisions of the USA Fencing Summer Nationals in Wisconsin. 2 of these 7 males placed within the top 10 in divisions intended for female competitors. From the 21st to 26th of July, the New Zealand lesbian group LAVA, short for Lesbian Action for Visibility in Aotearoa, attended their first week in court with the Human Rights Review Tribunal. LAVA alleged that they were unlawfully discriminated against when they were denied a stall at an event hosted by Wellington Pride in 2021. The stall application was denied on the basis that LAVA holds gender-critical views and could allegedly make others feel unsafe at the event had they been permitted to attend. This is a landmark case, as it has not yet been confirmed by a New Zealand court that gender-critical views are a political belief protected under the Human Rights Act. The hearing is set to continue in September. 5 Australian women who were subjected to strip searching upon exiting a flight in Qatar in 2020 have won the right to sue the airline and airport operator over the incident. The searches took place because a premature baby had been found abandoned in the bathroom at the airport, and the women were taken off the plane to be physically examined without consent. The women won their appeal in the Federal Court of Australia last month and are now able to sue Qatar Airways for unlawful physical contact and the Qatar Civil Aviation Authority for assault and false imprisonment. The Danish Agency for Palaces and Culture has announced the removal of a mermaid statue that has been criticised as ugly and pornographic by art critics and described by journalists as, quote, a man's hot dream of what a woman should look like, end quote. The reason given by the agency for the statue's removal is that it does not align with the cultural heritage of Dragor Fort, where it is currently located. The statue, titled The Big Mermaid, had previously been on display at Langelinie Pier in Copenhagen, but it was removed in 2018 after locals denounced it as, quote, the fake and vulgar mermaid, end quote. That concludes WLRN's World News segment for this Thursday, August 7th, 2025. I'm Kat Bradfield. Share your news stories, announcements and tips with us by emailing info@wlrnmedia.com and letting us know what's going on.
This is Joe Brew, and you are listening to WLRN.
Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I hear your heartbeat. Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I hear your heartbeat. Hey, 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 yo. Hey, 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 oh. Hey, 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 yo. Hey, 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 oh. Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I hear your heartbeat. Mother, I feel you under my feet. Mother, I hear your heartbeat. Hey, 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 yo. Hey, 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 oh. Hey, 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 yo. Hey, 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 oh.
That was Gila and Tara performing Mother, I Feel You Under My Feet. Next up, we'll hear excerpts of an interview Thistle did with Harvest, Holin, Rain, and Firehawk, 4 Dianic Priestesses who have co-created a safe space for women to gather, relax, sing, dance, perform, and rejuvenate, all within the soothing and beautifully artistic red tent they set up at the National Women's Music Festival each year. Take a listen to these women describing their experiences with the red tent, what it is, and why they got involved.
Okay, I am seated with 4 women at the National Women's Music Festival 2025, July 6th, 2025. The National Women's Music Festival has been going on for 49 plus years, and there are some amazing musicians and women here, and these 4 ladies who are sitting with me right now are in the red tent that is at the National Women's Music Festival. And the lights are low, and there's beautiful art all over, dolls, goddess figurines, tapestries, and the color red is dominant and very present. And it's a safe womb-like atmosphere and feeling in here. So I wanted to set the scene for where we are right now before we started talking. And so what I'd like to do with my guests is ask each of you to introduce yourselves and say what the red tent means to you and how you've been involved with making the red tent here at Nationals.
Well, I'm Harvest, and I got introduced to the red tent several years ago through the RCGI, which is the Reformed Congregation of the Goddess International in Madison. And I showed up at a gathering, and someone had set up a small red tent, and I went into it, and I immediately felt I was coming home. It was warm, it was comfortable. I felt like I had just walked back into my mother's womb, and I was safe. And so I started thinking, I would like to do that. And I told my friend Letitia, who is a mover and a shaker, that I was thinking about red tent. And she says, well, you should do that. And she went off that afternoon to the local thrift store and came back and handed me this beautiful piece of red glass and goes, here's the first piece for your red tent. I'm like, okay, I have to do this now. So my wife and I, we figured it out, and then I roped in Firehawk and Rain and another friend of ours, Rose, and we did red tent at Rose's house for our friends, and had our first red tent, and it was a complete success.
What year was that?
Wow, that was like 10 years ago. Yeah, I want to say 10 years.
I would agree.
Yeah.
2015,
Yeah.
around there.
Yeah.
There.
And I'm not sure how we ended up at National, but I remember saying to a friend of mine who was on the board at the time about the idea, and she goes, we'll put it forward. We'll ask the board. And we did, and they said yes. And since then, we keep growing, and this year we doubled in size because there's a destination now, not just an attraction. We are a destination here at the festival.
It's like its own thing within the festival, and it's a female-only space, too, which is different than the National Women's Music Festival itself. So,
Yeah.
But let's move on to some of the other wonderful women that are here today. Rain, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Rain. Harvest may not remember this well, but I was pretty much sitting next to her at that original experience. And as we walked away from the red tent that year, she recognized that she wanted to start having red tents, and she recruited me that day. And I said, yes. So I've kind of been in from the beginning, just kind of tagging along and making sure that things get done. And adding things and collecting red things. And
Well, you do something very particular for this red tent. You're far too humble. What?
well, I was getting there. Thistle.
Okay, good.
Yes, I'm of course I'm an important part of the construction of the red tent, but I'm also a fiber artist, and this year Harvest invited me to display all of my dolls instead of just one or two. I originally created one that is called the Red Tent Doll, and this year I'm displaying about 20 of my dolls here, and they all each have a story. One was created after all the upset and horribleness in Minneapolis. She's called Enough. There are goddesses here. There are spring dolls, winter dolls.
Which one is the red tent doll?
That one right there.
That's what I figured with the red hair.
Right. Yes, she's
Yeah.
all red. Well, I do. Yeah, you may notice I use a lot of red. And the one standing next to her is. She's kind of was kind of a vision of Yemaya as I saw it at the time, sort of descending out of the sky and landing in the middle of the street and saying, "Enough!"
Yeah.
With her hands on her hips. So yeah, I do.
Nice.
That's what I do.
Wonderful. Okay. Would you like to?
I'm Holin Blackmoon, and I got involved in this just probably hours after rain and harvest, because I'm Harvest's wife. I'm a Dianic high priestess, elder priestess, and a drummer and a ritualist. And so I've taught here. My job for the last few years is being an oracle. I have a little Varda. It's a little separate tent, and so I spend the entire time pretty much doing readings for women, and they come and they have questions and they want to know about their lives, and I use a female-only deck, which is Fiona Morgan's Daughters of the Moon deck, and so I read for the elders and I read for young women. It's a real privilege. So in addition to helping set up the space, once it's there, I live in that little mini space within the tent and spend my time basically allowing the goddess to speak through me to what these women need. It's a real privilege.
Yeah. Yeah, the space is larger this year, and there are tents within the tents, and it reminds me of cells within a body and how they all can work together in harmony and create a real energy, So
For me,
thank you.
For me, I see it as a red tent community in here.
Yeah, yeah. And very comfortable, like you said, very comfortable. Go ahead. Can you introduce yourself, please?
My name is, excuse me, my name is Firehawk. I am the wife of Rain Gaia here. So she is the artist of the family, and I'm technical advisor, I think, and energy worker. So my service to the tent is to support my sisters as we support the community. And I do hand massages, and another friend of ours does chair massages, and so this has become immensely popular to the point that the schedule fills up way before the conference does. But that is my service, is the energy work, and the technical work of putting up and taking down of this space in a way that tells women you're safe here. You are welcome here.
Yeah. And, taking care of the tapestries, of the art, like I can imagine storing it, you want to keep the dignity of the craft as you set up and you tear down, that's part of the ritual as well. And you can totally feel that. And I'm also noticing you've got a little tea island over there for women
Part of the
to
circle.
gravitate to, and that it can be, you know, sort of a little bit of a social area in addition to these meditative places. And
We have a sub tent called, we call it Sanctuary, but it's got 2 cots in it so women can rest, you know, if they need to, or have
Yeah.
very private conversations, maybe just a
right.
2-woman conversation. But it's really about meeting women's needs on a whole bunch of modalities, you know, visual, auditory. We have music going on in here. You're one of the music. We have recorded music, but you're one of the women that has performed. This is new this year, is having performers live music, and you've graced us with your talents and your music. So bringing artists in a whole bunch of modalities, including you, to come and be part of the Red Tent and bringing your arts.
Thank you,
as well.
Holin.
Oh, it's
I think for me, I feel really comfortable performing here. I declined to play the open mics at Nationals, but here, because it's a female only space and you declare that, you know, and I knew it was going to be a place where I would feel safer.
Mhm.
And I say safer because, you know, in today's world, it's like, but it feels really good in here, and it feels like women can open up and they can be themselves and find parts of themselves and express themselves through art and through song and through socializing at the tea table and getting card readings and hand massages. And
We also offer workshops. Like yesterday, we had a workshop. It was a croning workshop for women who were moving into or wanted to recrone themselves. They did a ritual around that. And we also had a workshop where Sally Joe did a workshop on grieving and grief, because many of us are, yes, sorry. And so we offer workshops that empower women and help them move through this life as well.
it's incredible. So, what is the history of the Red Tent? I know there was like a novel or like a book or something that was floating around amongst women. I mean, it seemed like a lot of women were reading it about
Yeah.
10, 15, 20 years ago, something like
It was
that.
a novel called The Red Tent by Anita Diamant, and this places women's space within biblical period, and you know, and that area of the Middle East. But there are before that were books like Sister Moon Lodge. I believe that's Kisma Stepanich. But the idea of a women's retreat for women to be able to experience and discuss their blood mysteries, you know, the process of bleeding and menopause and just the reality of being in a female body, has been around for, gosh, I've been a priestess for high priest for 20 plus years. So I'd say it's been at least 30 years, if not before, you know, books like Our Bodies, Ourselves. But a place for female retreat is it's pretty multicultural, except in the West, you know, in European culture, where it's been absent or it's been imposed by men on women.
Mm-hmm.
There are other cultures, indigenous cultures, where it is part of the culture and it's a positive aspect of the culture. So it's been a retreat.
Sure. I mean, woman's blood is very important for life, right?
Yes.
Go ahead, Rain.
Actually, the current Red Tent movement was founded by a woman named Isabella Leidenfrost, and she actually facilitated the Red Tent that Harvest and I originally attended. And the Red Tent movement is actually international. There are hundreds and hundreds of Red Tents being held, probably
You
as we
can probably
speak
see
in the northern.
YouTube videos about
You
different
probably
red
can, you
tents,
probably
right?
can, and because it's summer in the northern hemisphere, hello to my southern hemisphere women. There's probably a lot of them going on, you know, over the summer period because they can be held outside
Yeah,
in
that's
lots of ways.
lovely.
And they can be backyards to You know, anything from, 6 women meeting in a backyard to something this size.
Right.
And one of the things that is radical about our red tent that you might think would be assumed, but is not, is our red tent is female only and has always been female only and will always be female only.
And you haven't been attacked.
No. We have a contingency plan if that were to happen. From the very beginning of coming to National, we knew that this festival was open to all people. And so we had to have a plan. So basically, I've always committed to, if a man insists on coming in because they have a dress on, then I close my red tent. The red tent's closed, done, because we can't feel safe if you come in here.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
Cool. That's a firm line.
Mhm.
I feel like things are opening up on the outside. And when I say the outside, I feel like I'm on the inside right now in a woman's space, a woman's intentional community, a woman's creative community. And, you said something, Holin, that I just want to comment on because I like to have philosophical conversations. And one of the things that I've been really learning about recently is that materialist body perspective of our sex realist movement, that female is a real thing. It's like biologically based. It's like that's where babies, they come out of the woman's body. And that how significant that is, like just how socially significant that is. And you had talked about how we are in our female bodies, and I'm trying to shift, not trying, I'm experimenting. Let's put it that way. I want to remain open with new language of saying we are our female bodies, and this temple is the body of the goddess, and these are cells, these red tents that are within the larger red tent. And that, I know that that's kind of a weird, it's like where does science stop and religion begin? And so I know that's sort of
it's not
a philosophical,
but
because literally, no, this is not the body of the goddess. It's material, it's silk, it's whatever, the ribbons and things that all of these material tents are made out of. But yet that metaphor very much speaks to us as women, and I think especially during this time, when we need that sex realism and that body, like, I am this body, this is my body, and you can't cross it, So I just wanted to throw that in there and see what came up. Yes, go
We
ahead.
in our tradition often say to each other, as we stand in circle, we may finish our ritual or our meetings or our events by looking to the left or right of ourselves and saying to the woman, looking in her eyes and saying, "Thou art goddess." And the fact is that we are goddess within, and we reflect the body of the goddess. And a male whose name I will not say, but who occasionally you could admire one, said, "We are star stuff." I see that I have a sort of cosmological view of her body, which is the universe, which is all that is. And so if we are star stuff, then we truly do reflect her body, and we are her body.
Oh, yeah. So I just love that. Thank you for that, Rain. Any other kind of philosophical, cosmological comments that anyone would like to make?
When you were asking where's the line between science and religion, for me, it's science is, I can see it, I can feel it, I can name it, define it. But when it comes to religion, it's a faith. It's a something I can't put my finger on, but I know it's there. I believe it's there.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good definition. I'm not going to say I'm in favor or against. I'm having a philosophical conversation about, wanting to participate and be a part of women's community, and also be very rooted in
reality, which I think is so needed on a political level. And, the goddesses, there's just a lot of goddesses around in the red tent, in addition to the feeling of woman. And that is uniquely human in a way that and some might think of it as art. Some anthropologists, for example, who put on their science hat would be, they're goddesses, they're art, it's artwork, comes from the imagination and it's artwork, so anyway, let's continue about the red tent and at nationals. And you've been here 10 years. This is your 10th year, or?
Here, probably the 7th year. Yeah.
Oh, 7th.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you also do the RCGI gatherings in May and October.
Yes.
Can you tell us about what the red tent is like at those gatherings?
A lot different. Very
Smaller.
much smaller. We use just one gazebo, and it's set up in a space where women can come and go as they will, and usually Rain will do some kind of workshop in there at some point. I've had early morning meditations in there for women to come to.
I hope you do that again, because I noticed it was not there this time.
Yeah, I was kind of busy
with other things. Oh yeah, there's a lot going on. But it's the early morning drumming was really nice, and the setting the intention of the day in the red tent was like a really nice.
This is a really lovely space because it's it's very quiet. The hotel does red drapes all around the outside of the room. So we have this womb space. When we walk into a blank room, it's already got red draperies all around the
You
outside.
can put red rugs. I've got a beautiful red rug.
Oh yeah, thank you. We'll happily bring it. Yes, and there used to be the carpet used to have a lot of red in it, and then they switched it out.
They switched it
to this
blue
thing. I don't know, but the carpet used to also lend a lot of red to it. So yeah.
Next year I can bring my carpet. I'll bring my red carpet.
Okay, there we go.
And you'll give me the red carpet treatment, right?
I did that this year. I even offered you like a table with your drink on it.
Oh.
Oh, my water bottle.
Firehawk is really quiet about what she does, though, and I think what you do is really important. And
Then what I do is, the energy work is a quiet business, and whether it's just coming up and lending some energy to someone who is attempting to speak in a workshop and is struggling for the words, to yesterday morning I did a quick word case session for a woman who had fallen and had a cracked rib, and she was having trouble breathing, and we got her breathing again without pain. And that is my service to my fellow woman community. And this is a daily practice for me. And I was never a professional energy worker. It has always been a service of love and of service to other women. And Thistle, I had when you made the comment about the line between religion and science, I don't see it as a line. And I prefer to say the mystic and science, because they're interwoven in a way. I mean, 100 years ago, things that science can do now were considered
Magic.
and even evil, because they didn't understand them. And now, I mean, 100 years ago, people that saw auras were considered crazy and were either institutionalized or put to death because they were possessed by evil spirits. And now science has the ability to photograph a person's aura. So I see it as what we understand in our faith and in the mystic ways, science just hasn't caught up to yet.
Okay, interesting. Yeah.
Jade River, who you may have known.
Oh, yes, yes.
I heard this from her for the first time, I think. I'm sure someone said it before her, but she said there was no separation between the sacred and the mundane. So as far as religion
Yeah.
and science goes,
Yeah.
and there are a lot of scientists who are very religious, but that doesn't change, the science doesn't change their religious beliefs. I think, or reverse, anyway.
Both of them, yes.
Yes. It's
Well,
it's a
and
yes
if
and.
we're stumbling upon like patriarchal dualisms, you know,
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
these things.
Yeah.
And like, yes, I love that image, that vision of the whole universe, the stars, and that we are made of that stardust, you know, that and that it's quite literally true,
Absolutely.
you know.
I mean, all of us are gardeners, and you know that first handful of dirt that you smell in the
Yeah.
spring, that you bring up to your nose, came from out there.
Yeah.
So you're smelling the goddess when you're in the garden. Well, the garden is your goddess anyway.
Yeah.
It's how do you live without?
Right.
the fruits
I mean,
of
it's
the
the
earth.
way, you know, looking at the earth as a body,
Absolutely.
as a body.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, these are deep thoughts, ladies. And I've just been sort of having a discussion internally and then also with a few members of the collective, just wondering about these things. And I don't have like conclusions, you know. I mean, I think part of what makes, I don't know, the mystical is that mystery and
yes.
that not knowing, and then coming to each day like it's a blank page with an open mind and wondering what kind of goddess or figure or art might come up on that page, you know, like I like to practice that way. But anyway, the red tent, it's just such a lovely space with so much culture and art. And then there's the spirit of it as well that you ladies are bringing.
We
So,
try to bring in I'm part of the person who does like the search for the art. And what we try to do is find women artists. I mean, we've had things donated to us. We've had hand woven textiles from, I think it was Guatemala. We've had women who are quilters send us quilts and so on. So we're always on a search for art that is relevant and bringing it in and trying to represent or at least be aware of looking for art that is from women of different cultures so that the red tent becomes an embodiment visually of different cultural perspectives on being in a woman's body, on goddesses, on just visual representation of a woman's experience everywhere in the world. I think we don't have anything from Australia.
but you have
Yeah.
art and representations from cultures all over the world in here.
Pretty close.
Our first year doing the red tent here at National, we had a small rigid heddle loom set up, and when women came, we had it all set up, all warped up, and when women came in, they took a ribbon, a length of ribbon, and blessed it, put their energy into it, and then gave it to the weaver, which was Holin, and she kept weaving that whole National, and we ended up with a piece that you see on the left-hand corner of this one, that one with the drapes, the ties,
Yeah.
the stripes and all. That was the piece. It's super long. And so that piece is original to this festival then, and it was all the women that came and blessed the warp strings.
That's wonderful. And I'm sure that this space and each of the tents within the tent has many of those details and those qualities and the stories within stories, and
And it changes every year.
changes every year. I remember Mishfest changing every year too, you know.
we live in a very fast-paced, changing world, but yet you feel the swirling and the calmness at the same time in here of that mother feeling of safety in the womb, and it's just really lovely.
Speaking of changes, I can't not say this. This is our first year that our guardian has not been here, which was my dog Bear, a little corgi. He was the only male allowed in this room. And he would sit at the front door, and he knew he didn't like men. And so he could sense if someone didn't belong in here. And so he was our guardian all these years until now.
I'm sorry for your loss.
We have a little shrine to him this year over near the door, with his photograph and a candle going. So
take pictures that we'll make into a nice collage for this podcast. So, because there's so much to the visual as well.
Right.
So, are there any parting thoughts or words that you'd like to share with WLRN listeners, radical feminist, lesbian feminist listeners?
I thought we could close with a song.
Oh, the red tent?
Well, no, actually, I was thinking about Artemis, May Artemis.
Oh, yes. Okay. May Artemis protect you, and Hera provide you, and the woman soul within you guide your way home. May Artemis protect you, and Hera provide you, and the woman soul within you guide your way home. May Artemis protect you, and Hera provide you, and the woman soul within you guide your way home.
Blessed be.
Blessed be.
Thank you. Lovely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You are listening to WLRN.
Red tent, moon tent, blood lodge, moon lodge, moon hut, bleeding space. The mystery and wonder of our bodies is undeniable. The existence of life itself is incredible. Whether one is an atheist or a believer of any fashion, I think it's fair to say that women's bodies, our bodies, are marvelous. I will not try to give a history or synopsis of the wide variety of customs and practices around women's cyclical bleeding. I'm not a scholar on these subjects. I am a woman like you all are, women who are yet to bleed, are currently bleeding, or are finished with those years of life. In Thistle's interview, the keepers of the Red Tent at National Women's Music Festival highlight spiritual aspects of womanhood and our bodies. I'd like to emphasize that honoring the cycles of our bodies, often called blood mysteries, is available to all women, including atheists. For those who are believers, the time of bleeding can be considered a time of openness, receptivity to the messages and spirits of one's ancestors, a time of literally being open to the flow. For all women, it is a time in our approximately monthly cycles that stands apart. Our bodies are working to shed the nutrient-rich blood that is fertile ground for potential new life. Our energy levels, psycho-emotional states, and the physical needs that we have are all a bit different than in other times in our cycle. Within the cycle of life, there are countless other cycles. The blood mysteries is a term used by some women who honor our stages of development and life passages. The 5 blood mysteries are 1. Birth, 2. Menarche, 3. Potential pregnancy, birth, and lactation, 4. Menopause, and 5. Death. The timing of menarche, pregnancy, and menopause are governed by our hormones. Even a newborn female baby is governed by the hormones of her mother. Approximately 5% of female newborns have a tiny bit of vaginal bleeding within the first week after birth. In medical literature, this is referred to as false menses or neonatal uterine bleeding. After birth, the withdrawal of maternal hormones, specifically the sudden decrease in high levels of estrogen, or according to some, high levels of progesterone, can cause the newborn girl's body to shed uterine lining. I mention this because it strikes to the heart of what it is to be a woman, to be a female. We are our bodies. Our bodies are us. We cannot divorce ourselves from our embodied physical realities. What we can do is choose to learn about our bodies, choose to honor the needs of our bodies, and learn to recognize how these needs, wants, and desires both fluctuate cyclically and over time go through great changes. We cycle back and forth between bleeding, not bleeding for decades. The Red Tent, or Women's Moon Lodge, is a physical space created by women for other women who are bleeding. The ones that I have been in are draped in red fabrics that create a very womb and vulva-like effect. They are filled with pillows, couches, and blankets. The lighting is soft. There is a distinct, quiet energy within the red tent, even if just outside the atmosphere is busy. There is typically an altar with images of goddesses and other representations of the female form. There may be hot tea available, tinctures or herbs to support the body during this period, and books on women's health, herbalism, and traditions. For an atheist or believer of any kind, it can be reassuring and affirming to see these representations of the female form, to see our shapes and body parts depicted with reverence. The Moon Lodge is a place of refuge, of no expectations, and is designed with our potential needs in mind. The women who create these spaces do so with the intention to honor other women. They know what it's like to be fatigued, have GI upset, changes in energy and mood, and simply desire a nice, comfortable space in which to relax the body while bleeding. They create these spaces out of love, care, and respect for other women. They expect nothing in return. It is a gift they give to their sisters. I have heard that for some women who choose not to enter the lodge or tent, just knowing that it is there is comforting. Knowing that there is a space, should we need or desire it, in which our physical and other needs are acknowledged, can give a sense of relaxation, of being seen as women who do not always feel and function in the same ways. But what about when we aren't at a women's herbal gathering or women's music festival? What about when we are living our cyclical lives in the imposed world of hours, weeks, and months? How can we create, to the best of our abilities, our own personal refuges? To start, I suggest we simply acknowledge that our bodies do not cycle in accordance with the clock. Each one of us can appreciate that our physical and psycho-emotional states will vary and are dependent on our cycles. This is not weakness or a flaw, as the dominant culture tells us with its messages that we can essentially ignore our bodies. Just as the moon, tides, seasons, and everything else on Earth go through periods of waxing and waning, of great energy and times of respite and retreat, so too do our bodies. We can own that truth with love and tenderness for ourselves. On practical levels, we can track our cycles and patterns to better anticipate our wants and needs. The amount of rest and exercise we need and are capable of, our levels of sexual desire, the foods that best nourish us, who we want to be around, what we want to do, where we want to go, these may all have a cycle. If we pay attention and notice, we can give ourselves greater kindness and understanding, even within the structure of imposed schedules and calendars. Some simple ideas include putting fewer activities on your schedule when you will be bleeding, having items of comfort like a hot water bottle or heating pad ready at hand, making time for hot baths, scheduling a massage, consciously partaking in more or less sexual activities alone or with a partner, wearing loose, comfortable clothing, putting a towel down or dark sheets on the bed to reduce the anxiety of bleeding through and staining linens, making tea or taking supplements or herbs that you know are helpful for you. These are just a few options. Each of us has the opportunity to learn what she wants and then give it to herself the best that she can. All over the world, women are cycling. Our bodies are continually cycling. The realities of being female unite us as women. In addition to learning about and honoring our own bodies, we can honor other women's bodies. We can carry supplies with us in case another woman needs something. We can talk with young women and answer their questions. We can listen to our elders and honor what they have learned. We can share what we have learned. Acts of kindness and generosity are what get us through life. Each of us can decide how to contribute to the well-being of women and girls. By standing fully in the power of our own bodies, we silently model and give permission to another woman that she can fully stand in the power of her body. Finally, I'd like to thank my many mentors and elders. Your gifts are numerous, and they continue to spread.
That was our very own Freda Bear with her commentary on the Red Tent and women's blood mysteries. Thank you, Freda, for those insights into the marvels of our bodies.
Thanks for listening to WLRN's 112th edition podcast on the Red Tent at the National Women's Music Festival. WLRN would like to thank our guests this month for sharing their experiences, views, and ideas. Thank you so much, Harvest, Holin, Rain, and Firehawk, for speaking with me. Until next time, this is Thistle signing off on another WLRN podcast.
For edition 112, I used images from the Red Tent, which was set up by the Red Tent Clan at the National Women's Music Festival in Madison, Wisconsin. Handmade dolls, red candles, and a painting of women showering offer a glimpse into what is included in the space, recreating a sense of the sacred which women occupied literally and figuratively in various cultures. Here at WLRN, we lift up the reality and the heart of womanhood and our connection to life and the universe. If you like what you are hearing and would like to donate to the cause of feminist community radio, please visit our WordPress site and click on the donate button. Check out our merch tab to get a nice gift in exchange for your donation. And if you're interested in joining our team, we are always looking for new volunteers. Thanks for listening. This is Margaret, signing off for now.
And this is Aurora. Thank you for tuning in. Next month, because August is the 80th anniversary of the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, we will be focusing our program on feminist analyses of nuclear war and the women's peace movement. Our handcrafted podcasts always come out the first Thursday of the month, so do look out for it on Thursday, September 4th, which happens to be my birthday. If you would like to receive our newsletter to notify you when each podcast, music show, and interviews are released, please do sign up for our newsletter on the WLRN WordPress site. Stay strong in the struggle, and thank you very much for listening.
This is Anne, signing off on another edition of WLRN's monthly handcrafted podcast. You can find us on X, Facebook, Instagram, Spinster, and SoundCloud, in addition to our website. Thanks for listening.
And this is Freda. Our monthly podcasts are always crafted with tender, loving care and in solidarity with women worldwide. Thanks for your support. We would love to hear from you, so please share, like, and comment widely.
But how will we find our way out of this? What is the antidote for the patriarchal kiss? How will we find what needs to be shown? And then after that, where is home?